Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. This is Bookeemonsters. My name is PK, and it is Wednesday, December 27th. Just a few more days left in the year. And since it is Wednesday, we are going to be looking at the new releases this week that are romances as best we can, because there are not as many books being released into the wild this week because of the holiday. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, PK and everyone. Happy Wednesday. The week is definitely moving on. We're halfway through it already. Feels a little off because the holiday was on Monday, not Sunday. Feels a lot off. But we're not moving backwards. I'm okay with it being Wednesday. It's just hard to remember. Hi, Annalise. Hi, Mary. Yes, it's that third day. And Mary says, hi, Annalise. All right. Hope you guys had a good night. Anything planned for today? Yeah, I think I'm going to go to work. And I have to say, it's very nice having a service manager who seems to be competent. What a gift. All right, let me turn this off. We are going to jump into romances. Hang on a second. Lots of tabs up because I was doing a little pre-scouting last night just to make sure we had stuff that was actually released this week. Romance reading. Oh, nice. So happy for you. Thank you. May 2024 be a good year for everybody. All right, Second Duke's the Charm by Kate Bateman. 318 pages. Meet Her Majesty's Rebels, 3 brilliant women who run King & Co., London's most exclusive investigative agency. The wedding night death of her much older husband left Tess Townsend the Dowager Duchess of Waynesford, and still a virgin. Now she and her 2 best friends investigate London's most scandalous crimes, and while Tess longs to experience physical pleasure for herself, she can't risk losing her treasured independence. Cynical shipping magnate Justin Thornton never expected to inherit a dukedom, but he'll do his duty. When the ravishing woman he kissed at a party turns out to be the Dowager Duchess, Justin sees an obvious solution: a marriage of convenience that will suit them both. But the passion that sparks between them is anything but convenient. As Tess works on a new case at the request of Queen Charlotte, her increasingly suspicious behavior makes Justin question her motives and her past. The infuriating woman clearly can't be trusted, but Justin doesn't believe in love, so there's absolutely no danger of him falling for his own wife. Is there a nice traditional romance? Traditional historical romance. He says, it's raining here in Virginia. Oh, nice. You need water. Not hard, but messy if you get out in it. Planning on staying close to home with maybe a foray to the grocery store. Yes. Stay inside, read, nap, be cozy. Do it for all of us. On the Plus Side by Jenny L. Howe. Everly Winters is perfectly happy to navigate life like a good neutral paint color, appreciated but unnoticed. That's why she's still a receptionist instead of exploring a career in art, why she lurks but never posts on the forums for her favorite makeover show, On the Plus Side, and why she's crushing so hard on her forever unattainable coworker. When no one notices you, they can't reject you or insist you're too much. This plan is working perfectly until someone secretly nominates Everly for the next season of On the Plus Side. Overwhelmed by the show's extremely extroverted hosts and how much time she'll have to spend on screen, she finds comfort in a surprising friendship with the grumpy but kind cameraman Logan. Soon, Everly realizes that he's someone she doesn't mind being noticed by. In fact, she might even like it. But when their growing connection is caught on camera, it sends the show's ratings into a frenzy. Learning to embrace all of herself on national TV is hard enough, but can Everly risk heartbreak with the whole world watching? I bet so. Amish Love Letters by Shelley Shepherd Gray, Charlotte Hubbard, and Rosalind Lauer. A heartfelt note, a loving message, a letter filled with secret hopes. This trio of sweet Amish romances will show that on Valentine's Day, the right words can spark a lifetime of joy. Love Letter Courtship by Shelley Shepherd Gray. After 6 months of courtship, Jenny Miller has refused Matt Lapp's proposal. Though he visits regularly, they never seem to talk deeply, and Jenny longs for real connection and romance. Chastened, Matt offers a solution. For 2 months, they'll share letters filled with their hopes and dreams. Soon Jenny is falling for Matt in earnest, but will he ever propose again? Well, why do you think he's going to all this trouble? Guys don't write. Spike. Sylvan Kiss. Charlotte Hubbard. Quiet, gentle Fanny Kurtz knows that fun-loving Eddie Brubaker is the man she wants to marry someday. When he starts receiving letters in pink envelopes, she realizes she has some competition. Maybe it's time she wrote a love note or two of her own. But a mix-up could jeopardize this romance before it starts, unless she keeps faith in God's plan. Dot, dot, dot. The Wrong Valentine by Rosalind Lauer. Young widow Martha Lambright is grateful to be working at her mother-in-law's restaurant, even if seeing the Critching gals giggle over Valentine cards gives her a pang. But when Mose Troyer, the former bad boy who drives Martha to and from work each day, finds a Valentine he mistakenly believes is for him, it begins a tender exchange that could lead to a wonderful future. You could bookmark that one for Amish in April if one follows certain readathons. Historical romances are my favorite, especially British ones. Yes, me too. It's cool, weirdo titles. An Inconvenient Earl, a Royal Match book number 4 by Julia London. I believe I've heard of that author. I don't know if I've read any of hers. Bold, beautiful, beguiling. It's been over a year since Emma Clark's no-good husband left on an expedition. The Countess of Dearborn has played the abandoned wife, but people are beginning to presume the Earl is dead, which doesn't suit Emma at all. Emma likes being head of household in Albert's absence and does her best to keep his family believing he is alive and well. She's 30 years old and finally having some fun. If the Earl is in fact dead, his family is waiting in the wings to swoop in and throw Emma out, leaving her destitute. Then along comes Luke Olivian, the Westlorian Earl of Marleigh. He's traveled all the way from Egypt, duty-bound to return to the Countess her deceased husband's precious pocket watch, only to discover she doesn't know he's dead. Or does she? It's hard to tell. Luca catches glimpses of the desperate vulnerability beneath the party girl exterior and can't help being drawn into the beguiling Countess's ruse. I don't know. Doesn't sound like a nice person. Pretty cover, though. On the other side of the spectrum, Buried Under Ice, Icebreaker Cold Case Romance book number 7 by Cynthia Eden. This comes out on the 28th, so tomorrow. Once she was falling in love with him, but now she hates him. FBI Special Agent Oliver Fox lied to Lark Lawson. Lied, used, seduced, and betrayed her. 4 ultimate sins. The special agent got close to Lark just so he could prove her twin brother was guilty of murder. Correction, multiple murders. The deceitful special agent believed that her brother was a serial killer, and now because she let the wrong man get close, Lark's brother is rotting in a jail cell. Her fault, but she's going to fix things, or die trying. Though she'd really, really prefer not to die. It's up to Lark to prove her brother's innocence. Lark knows her brother isn't guilty. He is the only family she has left, and she is not about to watch him go down for crimes he never committed. That she did? No, this is romance. Never mind. So now she's determined to hunt down the real killer. No one seems to believe that she's up to the task, but when danger begins to stalk her, it's clear that Lark has attracted someone's attention to a deadly degree. She also has an annoying special agent suddenly shadowing her every move. Oliver never planned to get emotionally involved with the passionate and too lovely Lark, but his best laid plans went straight to hell when she entered his world. Oliver is used to profiling killers. He doesn't know how to win back the only one who has ever touched his heart, especially when he broke hers. But when it becomes apparent that Lark is in the crosshairs of a dangerous killer, there is no way that Oliver can stand on the sidelines, etc., etc. Doesn't grab me, but it should since I like historical. No, there's something missing from it. Like she's just not likable or something. Icy London by Chanel Cleaton, first in the International School series. As in Icy London, Icy France. I see someone's underpants. Maggie Carpenter is a small town southern girl who's never been kissed. She's ready for a change and to leave her ordinary life in a failed attempt to get into Harvard behind. She accepts a scholarship to the international school in London, where she's suddenly mingling with the privileged offspring of diplomats and world leaders. When Maggie meets Hugh, a 20-something British guy, she finds herself living the life she has always wanted. Suddenly, she's riding around the city in a Ferrari, wearing borrowed designer clothes and going to the hottest clubs. The only problem? There's someone else, someone she can't seem to keep her hands off of. Half French, half Lebanese, and impossibly rich, Samir Khoury has made it clear to Maggie that despite their intense attraction, he doesn't do relationships. He's the opposite of everything she thought she wanted, a player with no interest in commitments. But she just can't keep away. Torn between her dream guy and the one haunting her thoughts, Maggie must fight for her own happy ending. But in a city like London, you never know where you stand, and everything can change in the blink of an eye. I think we know which way that's going to go. Well, apparently the author did. Love Grudge by Chantel Fernando. Angels and Devils. I think it's Motorcycle Club Book One. I think that's what MC is. Their love will ignite a war in this Romeo and Juliet retelling. Romeo. I was born to rule the Devil's Motor Club, I think it is. Again, someone can let me know. Every decision, every move I made was to further that goal until I met Juliana. Falling in love with the granddaughter of the man who ripped our club apart was not in the cards, especially not now when it's finally time for me to take over as president. Duty to the club comes first, but that battle cry feels empty when it means giving up the woman I love. Juliana, my greatest sin was being born a woman. I've proven my worthiness in spades, but my father still won't let me lead the angels on my own. I'm nothing but his pawn, to be sold off to the successor of his choice. He wants me to fall in line, give up Romeo, and keep the peace, but my loyalty comes with a price. I'll fight for what I want, even if it means going to war. Again, it is somebody's cup of tea. You know, there's mafia romances out there. There's vampire romances out there. River Strong by B.J. Daniels, big name in romance and, in particular, cowboy romances. This is book two in a Powder River series. For two rival families, the only thing that matters more than land is love. There's a lifetime of tension between the McKenna and Stafford ranching families, and Oakley Stafford has the bullet scar to prove it. Defying the bitter rivalry between their families, Oakley grew up thick as thieves with Duffy McKenna. But now the Staffords and the McKennas are competing to buy a neighboring property. Both need that land desperately, and the reasons are more dangerous than Oakley knows. But there's another unspoken rivalry too between Duffy and Pickett Hansen, the McKenna family's ranch hand. Once upon a time, Oakley ignored the way the two handsome cowboys playfully flirted with her, but now she's untangling complicated feelings that could upend years of friendship. And when a body is found on the contested ranch, their secrets will be forced into the open at last. So here's a question. Normally, on a romance book, and it doesn't indicate here as far as I can tell, normally you have your couple, your guy and your girl, guy and a guy, girl and a girl, whatever. I'm picking up a threesome vibe here. Why else would they have two guys and a girl here? And they all look really cranky, don't they? That's just I don't know that about BJ Daniels. I didn't think that, but that's just the vibe I'm picking up here. Funny combo, but we all need some loving. Exactly. Love as thou wilt. Oh, did we already look at that one? We looked at that one. Sorry. Duplicate. The Fearless One, Osborne Brothers Book 2 by Laurie Foster. A small town romance trope. He had it all planned until she showed up. Jedediah Stevens came to the Colorado Rockies for one reason, to uncover the truth behind the fire that killed her family. She's been chasing down clues. Jedediah's a girl's name? She's been chasing down clues, and everything has led her to an isolated campground. Her plan is to get a job there so she can investigate who comes and goes. Getting involved with her boss, Memphis Osborne, the ruggedly handsome groundskeeper, is definitely not part of the plan. When Jedediah arrives on the scene, Memphis just knows she's up to something. He can see the desperation in her eyes and warily agrees to hire her. As they work side by side, Dia is her shortened version, Dia, triggers his deepest protective instincts, and the chemistry between them ignites. But the more Dia digs into her family's past, the more secrets she unravels, and the more afraid she becomes. She lost everything once before. She'll never forgive herself if now she loses Memphis, too. Yeah, I get that's definitely I think what's going on there. Oh yes indeed. The Governess and the Duke by Lydia Drake. Renegade Duke's Book 2. Governess Miss Viola Winslow is quite familiar with the rules of society and her place in it. Still, it hasn't stopped her from being horribly in love with the Duke of Huntington for years. But while the Duke knows little of her foolish passions, the same cannot be said of Viola's charge, a precocious 14-year-old obsessed with her governess's secret romance. As a confirmed bachelor with no interest in marriage, the Duke of Huntington prefers his estate at Moorcliffe Castle to the hustle, bustle, and utter nonsense of London society. He is far more content with a glass of excellent whisky and the calm of the country, until his peace is shattered by the enchanting Miss Viola and her injured young charge. Unable to travel or leave, Miss Viola has no choice but to remain at Moorcliffe, where avoiding the Duke is all but impossible. Somewhere between late night run ins and a fake date in the most unlikely of places. They didn't really date. Their chemistry stops feeling one sided, but when one discovers the secret she's been hiding all along, there's nothing that will save them from scandal, except probably marriage. The Jelly Bean Dilemma. Not a historical, I'm just picking up. This is by Marin Jenner, Book 2 in the Sweet Nothings series. Rhonda Elgin is turning over a new leaf. What a old-fashioned name, Rhonda. Over a new leaf, especially if it meets rekindling an old flame. Newly single, Rhonda Elgin has secretly wanted her chauffeur and longtime friend Greg Peterson for several years, but after her attempt to land him went awry, she had to watch him from a distance. Now that Greg has returned as her chauffeur, Rhonda wants a second chance. When Greg asks her to be his last-minute date for his sister's wedding on New Year's Eve, she leaps at the chance. She can't pass up the opportunity to spend the holiday away from the pressure of her old life, nor can she pass up the chance at getting Greg to notice her, even if it is in cold, snowy northern Michigan. An incoming blizzard, that's on your bingo card, strands the maid of honor, creating the perfect opportunity to prove to everyone that Rhonda is more than a spoiled Billy. Oh, she's a oil billionaire heiress. Oh. And just maybe she can fan the sparks between her and Greg into a flame along the way. They didn't mention that until like the last second to the last sentence. The Paris Housekeeper. This was listed as a historical romance, as you can tell. Paris, 1940. German tanks rumble through the streets of Paris, forcing frightened citizens to flee. But not everyone has the luxury to leave. Camille Lacroix, a chambermaid at the world-famous Hotel Ritz, must stay to support her family back home in Brittany. Desperate to earn money, Camille also acts as a lady's maid for longtime guest Vivian Miller, a glamorous American widow and a Nazi sympathizer. Despite her distrust of the woman, Camille turns to Vivian when her friend and fellow hotel maid Rachel Berman needs help getting out of Paris. It's then that Camille discovers that Vivian is not what she seems. The American has been using her wealth and connections to secretly obtain travel papers for Jewish refugees. While they're hiding Rachel in an underground bunker under a Nazi's nose, a daring escape plan is hatched. But as the net grows tighter and the Germans more ruthless, Camille's courage will be tested to the extreme. This was listed as a historical romance. I'm not seeing the romance. They're not even hinting at a possible romance between those two. It's just a historical. Okay, which isn't bad. You're the Duke That I Want by Lenora Bell. First in the Thunderbolt Club series. Raised by an overprotective mother, bookish romantic Sandrine Oliver craves adventure, but nothing exciting ever happens in her sleepy seaside village until a handsome, mysterious stranger arrives and sweeps her off her feet, only to leave suddenly with no explanation. Lord Dane Walker, brother to the Duke of Rydell, is infamous for racing fast carriages and breaking hearts. When his brother is mortally injured, Dane inherits the responsibilities of the dukedom, duties that come with a dangerous secret which threatens everyone close to him. In London, Sandrine is astonished to learn that the charming, honorable man she met at the beach is really a disreputable rake, and the infuriating nobleman acts as though he barely knows her. Who needs a wild rake? Certainly not Sandrine. With a little help from her friends, she transforms into a glamorous belle. She's out to make Dane pay, but can she stop her traitor's heart from longing to surrender only to him? I bet not. That was it, and that was the end. We timed that pretty darn good. Good job, guys. All righty. There's sure a lot of dukes out there and falling in and out of love. I bet there's somebody out there who is making a list of all the dukes and earls that have ever been listed in romance books, and I'm sure they outnumber. There's like tenfold more than there really should be. Natalie says another Duke Mary. Coco, yes. We're still getting some Christmassy kind of vibes, but kind of easing away from that. Well, thank you guys for showing up this morning. And I hope maybe you saw something that you like or want to look into a little further. I'm currently reading a romance right now called Five Gold Rings by Kristen Bailey, I think it is. And that's a contemporary British rom-com. I'm enjoying it. It's humorous. So, no sprints tonight. But there will be sprints tomorrow evening, Thursday, at 6:05 Mountain Time, 8:05 Eastern. That'll go for 2.5 hours. Tomorrow will be morning show. We'll be looking at fantasy and science fiction as best as we can find in this holiday week of not very much coming out. There is one big one that came out yesterday, so at least we'll have one to look at. Mary says, thanks. It's so good to see everyone. Hope to see you at Rosanna's later and have a great day, everyone. Nice start to the day. Excellent. I hope you have a good day too. Enjoy the rain. So everybody have a good Wednesday. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Thank you for being here. God bless.